What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. Fellas, we are back finally from our big road trip to Paynes Valley. We'll get into that maybe on our next episode. While we've been gone, there's been a lot of things happen. We've had a lot of portal updates, a lot of transitions, and we also had the Masters tournament. That was everything that we was hoping it would be. We're going to start out tonight with Kentucky talk. You know, that's because that's really our foundation here at Bluegrass State of Mind. That's what we want to talk to you all a lot about. So we've had a lot of new guys come in since the last time we spoke here. But just whenever we was speaking here at the moment, we did have Cam Williams out of Tulane who had committed. We had Jalen Lowe from Pittsburgh who had just committed. And that was about it. I
The
mean,
Alabama kid.
did
Diabate.
did we?
Yeah.
I thought that was after this episode.
No,
It may not have
remember
been.
I asked Eli about his stats on the last episode.
Oh, that is right. I was thinking the time before. Yeah, and we had the Diabate from Alabama. Since then, we have had Jaden Quaintance from Arizona State, who once was going to be a Wildcat, but then decommitted after Cal left, and then was open to actually meeting with Pope, and then had a big fiasco of where he was going to end up playing or going, and he ended up going to Arizona State. And then also, I may not say this correct, but we had a Croatian big man. Does anybody else want to try his name?
What is it? Andre Ilovich.
Andra Jelavic. Something
I'm
like
calling
that.
him AJ.
Yeah.
AJ, that'd be easy. Let's just say that, AJ. So yeah, we've added two more key pieces. So I'm really excited about those two key pieces. You talk about. Well, actually, I'm gonna hand it over to y'all. I want to hear y'all's thoughts. So, Mason, I want to hear some of your thoughts on either Quaintance or AJ.
Yeah, so I'll just give a little bit about both. I think Quaintance is a great pickup for us. You know, I think if we went in, we weren't really targeting any big athletic fives, right? And I know he's not technically a five, but I think he can definitely play the five for us. I think it's going to give us some strength, some athleticism, some rim protection down there. I think he averaged like over 2 blocks a game last year. You know, I think his wingspan is 7'6" or something crazy, and he's only 6'10". I mean, dude has a crazy wingspan. He's super athletic. He's projected to be a lottery pick next year. Let's just hope that his recovery from his injury goes smoothly. And, you know, it scares me a little bit when guys are injury prone. But hopefully everything goes smoothly. He can be back. I think they're saying, you know, hopefully around November-ish. So hopefully he can get back a little before that, start practicing with the team. But I think he gives us a great presence inside, both offensively and defensively. If he can develop a little bit of a stretch, you know, develop a jump shot mid-range, maybe step out and knock down a couple, I think he's going to be a great piece for us and something that we absolutely needed at the five position, because I did not feel comfortable with Brandon Garrison starting at our five. And then AJ, I think I sent y'all a link, I don't know, probably a week and a half ago. There were some rumors going around that we may be talking to him, looking at him. And he kind of reminds me of Big Z a little bit. He can stretch the floor. He's athletic. I think to me, he looks a little bit more mobile than Big Z did coming out. Like, moves a little bit better, can kind of stretch the floor a little bit more, put it on the floor, get to the rim. So super excited about him as well. I think that was kind of the missing piece we needed at the four, right? Somebody who could stretch the floor and really fit in Pope's system. So I think he'll be able to do that for us. And I'm really excited with everything he's done so far. I think we've got just about every piece that we need. And then Lamar Wilkinson, we can touch on him here in a minute. But go ahead, Cole.
Yeah. The last two pickups were big just because We didn't know what the Robert Morris guy was going to do. We lost out on the San Diego State dude, and then so right now you really just had essentially Garrison, and you had the Alabama guy that was really going to probably have to play like your four. And of course Moreno's coming in. Of course, he's kind of uncertain. We don't have a clue. But so the last two pickups, Quaintance is a big pickup. He's just now what 17, 18. I mean, he's so young. Because he reclassified. But he, obviously, like you said, the ACL injury, you never know. I mean, that's a significant injury, and you hope that he comes back at as close to 100% as he can. But that's always the question. And then, as far as the AJ, I, I didn't really. I mean, I'd heard about him, but then like whenever we signed him, some people were talking about how like he could be a projected like top 10 pick also next year, and so I didn't really know how to think because like his stats are just like 10 points a game or right they're and like he's almost 21. Like he's he's older and he's only averaging like 10 points a game. So I mean, you watch some of the highlights, but a lot of those European players that you watch highlights, you're like, oh man, they're shooting the three, they're moving, and I do think he can be very solid for us. I think he can be someone said that like he's essentially gonna be like another Carr, except with maybe a little bit more to his game, and that's probably what he kind of reminds me of. Which Carr did a lot of good things for us, and I mean he was a ACC, all ACC before he come to us, and he done a lot of good things for us when he was healthy. So if he can fill that role and maybe add a few more things to his game, I mean he's going to be a really good player for us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you, the Wilkerson to me, you need to get him because I think we're lacking a score. Like I think we're lacking a score the 1 through 3. I don't think Lowe. I may be wrong. I just don't think Lowe is going to average what he averaged in the ACC, scoring wise. I don't in the SEC, and so they just really and Jasper Johnson is a wild card, right? He's a freshman coming in, so you just don't know about them because if he doesn't end up being that guy, then right now we don't have a whole lot of scoring in that 1 through 3 outside of like shooting wise, outside of you don't have a lot of shooters that you just know of being pure shooters on a team. So that worries me a little bit, but you never know. But also, I want to bring up while we're on there, what about a Caden Lewis decommitting? That's a interesting situation. Everyone was assuming he was the backup point guard, coming in and talking about how much potential he had. All you had heard about how much they love Kentucky, and I know there's some behind the scenes situation going on with that. But that was definitely awkward to see. It makes you wonder if there's another guy that they're thinking about bringing in that he was afraid that like he was not going to be able to play. But what do y'all have thoughts on him? I mean, I know Dylan, you can talk about the guys.
Yeah, the Caden Lewis. To be honest, I was never like blown away with him. It wasn't like I guess hearing that didn't like make me like, man, we really lost out on that one. Like if that make like he's a good player, but he wasn't somebody I think that we like really really needed. I think his upside is not as big as Jasper Johnson. Now, if we would have lost Jasper Johnson, I think that it would have been a little bit different. That's just my opinion. Um, I hope everything that like you said, the reports that are coming out about him. Hope everything is okay and everything goes well, and wish nothing but the best for him. But maybe it wasn't going to be a good fit for him. I don't know. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that we don't know that could have happened, or Mark Pope and him could have had a deep conversation. I don't know. But yeah, it's not something that I think is going to be like, man, we needed that guy. That's just my initial thoughts on the Caden Lewis. As far as acquaintance though goes, you talk about a guy who had the ACL injury, like you said, coming off scoring 9.5, or he averaged 9.5 points, 8 rebounds, 2.6 blocks. Doesn't shoot the ball very well, but that's not his game. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think that this AJ guy, the Croatian who's 7'2", He only averaged, like you all said, 10.8 points. You averaged 7.4 rebounds. He is not somebody that if you look at his highlights and you're like, man, this guy's a bucket. Like that's not what he's going to do. I think what he can do for this team though is I think that he is the perfect fit to go with your acquaintance. They've got two complete different games. You talk about AJ, remind you, like you said, Mason, of Big Z, can be a rim protector at standing at 7'2", but also can spread the floor out with that jump shot while still leaving Jaden Quaintance inside to bang with other guys. Like that's his game. Like he's a big physical guy, and that's what he's going to do. His presence is physicality, and that's how he owns the paint. So I think you put those two guys together, that's very important, and just the makeup of our front court. I think that helps us out tremendously. Also, you have Brandon Garrison, who's going to be staying now, and then like you said, I just the freshman that's coming in,
Moreno.
Moreno. Yeah.
Is that guy
So
7'2"? I thought I saw somewhere he's 6'10". Did I
no,
see
no, no,
that right?
no. Sorry, I'm sorry. He has 7'2" wingspan, but he's 6'11".
Okay.
So, but still, though, I think that
Yeah.
they go they go perfectly together. You talk about a guy
Oh,
who's
yeah.
spreading out the floor, can shoot the ball because he shot the ball at 32.3% from three, which is not that bad for a big six. I mean, that's not bad at all. And um, but now also what you always get into, I want to touch on this Lamar Wilkerson. I think that's what we're missing. We're missing a Kobe Bryant, and there's a spot for that guy right now. And he actually just got done visiting Lex this weekend. He was at Keeneland. He also, and if this doesn't tell you something is in the makes, then I don't know what will. He was scheduled to go visit with Auburn and Ole Miss. He has
Just saw
canceled
that.
those.
Yep.
He has canceled those. So now it's between us and Indiana. And I mean, if he picks Indiana, bye. You go have fun over there. I mean, that program's in shambles. I mean, unless they offer him just a bootloads of money. I mean, I don't know what and what mindset he would be in to pick that over Kentucky. I mean, having a starting spot in the greatest tradition of college basketball, like we need him. Like that's what we need. We need a Kobe Bryant. We need a shooter. And this guy's 6'5", averaged 20.5 points, 4 rebounds. He shot it at 47.7% from the field goals, 44% from three land, and 82% from free throws. He's a bucket. That's what we need moving forward. Mason,
Yeah.
your thoughts on the Caden Lewis and anything else?
Yeah. Caden Lewis, I was a little bit bummed just because I think he is going to be really good. I think he was kind of that perfect like backup developmental point guard for this year, and then maybe coming into next year could take over the team. Kind of learn Pope's system and take it over next year. I was excited about that. Hate to see him go. I know there's a lot going on. Wish him the best of luck, like you said, Dylan. I would have loved to still see him here, but I think Jasper will kind of fill into that one spot. He's a little bit undersized for the two, I think. I don't. What is he like? 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Jasper
Who is it?
Johnson,
He's 6'4".
6'4". So he's a little undersized to play the two. There's some bigger twos out there, so I think he'll probably fill into that one some, and I think that'll be good for him too. If we get Wilkerson, which I think we're in good standing right now, that could limit some of Johnson's playing time. So him being able to run that one would allow him to get in there and kind of develop his game, which if he wants to go to the league, let's be honest, that's probably what he's going to be playing when he gets to the league is point guard. So I think that's good. But Wilkerson, like you said, Dylan, he canceled his visit to Auburn and Ole Miss. I read somewhere earlier he's still in Lexington. So it sounds like Pope may have locked that down. I saw some good videos of him out at Keeneland and, hanging around Pope and stuff. So hopefully we can bring that one in. I think if we can lock him in, I mean, we have, in my eyes, like the perfect roster. We have just about every piece you can ask for. We're deep. We'll probably go 10 deep next year with everybody we got right now. So I'm really excited if we can lock him down. I think that's the one thing we're missing, like both of y'all have said right now. It's just that shooter who can go get a bucket.
Yeah. Well, and then then I'll send this over to you, Coach, after this. Okay, so if we do lock up Wilkerson, then you're looking at, for our next year, 25-26 roster, you're looking at Otega Owe, Mohamed Dabate, Brandon Garrison, Jalen Lowe, Cam Williams, Colin Chandler, Trent Noah, Travis Perry, Jaden Quaintance, AJ, Jasper Johnson, Malachi Marino, and then Wilkerson.
Loaded.
Yeah, expectations become a lot higher going into it, which is what they need to be. That's what they should be every year. That's your expectations. And I love that he's shown one, he went and got deeper. He had to get more athletic on the bench. He's done that.
Oh,
He's got
absolutely. Bench play has went up
right.
tremendously.
So he's done that.
Now you're talking about guys not getting to play and
Right
getting like you got to start
now,
balancing that out right now. Now it gets
yeah,
where how are you going to balance that out? Because
that
there's a
that
lot
does
more
that does
PT
worry me
coming
a
in the
little bit
paint.
about him because of the way he subbed this year. But obviously the subs you can bring in this time are a little different athletes than the one you were bringing in this past year. But it gives you some depth in case of injuries. It gives you definitely more athleticism that you don't lose necessarily a step on the athletic ability that's coming in. Maybe you lose a step on some scoring and stuff, but you definitely have replacements. But yeah, I mean, expectations are growing each day. I mean, I fully expect this team to be a top 6 or 7 team anyhow in the AP rankings, especially if we lock down Wickerson. And I mean, so that's when you start out that high, you're back at that point where we went to Sweet 16 last year. We're expecting, you're going to be expected to be, go past that, and that's what we should be every year. Like that
Exactly.
should be the
Should be.
expectation. You always, I mean, you're going to have years you fall short, but that should be, you should be able to look at your team at Kentucky and say, no doubt this team can win the national championship. Like, and that, I'm feeling like that with this team so far that he's building. And so we'll have to see and how it comes together, but it's off to a good start anyhow.
Yeah. Mason, any other thoughts about this Kentucky team?
I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is if we lock down Wickerson, I think we're all going into the season kind of feeling like we have a chance to win a national championship. And we mentioned how deep this team's going to be. I think that fits into Pope's style, right? He wants to play fast. Guys are going to get winded quickly. I know he said this year he wanted to get up 33s a game. I don't know we have as good of a shooting team this year as we did this past year, but I still think that that's going to kind of get a bunch of threes, get out in transition, let's run. And I'm glad that we're deep and we have the athletes this year, so we don't feel like we fall off tremendously when we go past that 7th or 8th man. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for this team is, like you all said, our bench play. I mean, just we went from like I would say like a C minus on our bench play, maybe in the D category. I mean, really, to top caliber A minus. I mean, A minus. Like, I mean, we went helped tremendously, and that's what we lacked because you talk about those athletes, like we mentioned over and over. I mean, seeing it from other teams, bring in athletes to just go make plays. That's what we missed, and that's hopefully what we're going to be getting in. I'm excited about it, though. I would love to see the lock in on Wilkerson as well. Well, as we're talking about basketball, moving on to the professional level, professional status, the NBA playoffs are here. The play-in tournament, as they began that, I guess this would be the 4th year, maybe 4th or 5th year that that this has been going on. The seeds are set. So on the east side, the 1 seed is the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 2 seed is the Boston Celtics, the 3 seed is the New York Knicks. The 4th seed is the Indiana Pacers. 5th seed, the Milwaukee Bucks. 6th seed, Detroit Pistons. And then playing in the play-in tournament. Now, this is just actually to get into the playoffs. You have the 9th and 10th seed playing against each other, which will be the Chicago Bulls and Miami Heat. And then you have the 7th and 8th seed, the Orlando Magic and Atlanta Hawks playing. And that's on the east side. And then moving on to the west side, you have the 1 seed, Oklahoma City Thunder, the 4 seed Denver Nuggets, 5 seed is the Los Angeles Clippers. The 3rd seed is the LA Lakers, 6th seed Minnesota Timberwolves, 2nd seed Houston Rockets. And then you have the play-in tournament on the west side, which will be the 9th and 10th seed Sacramento Kings playing the Dallas Mavericks, and then the 7th and 8th seed playing, which is the Warriors and the Grizzlies. My first initial question I want to get, how do you all feel about this play-in tournament to actually get into the playoffs? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
So my thoughts is I think it was a move to make for TV viewership. I really do. I think it was something that people wanted to see. Kind of that's what they made that in season tournament right that they play now, and I think the
Yeah.
play in was kind of that because what you kept seeing was, and you're still getting it, but what you started seeing now was like the last several years, and it goes back to when like even like LeBron started. After the first like 5 seeds, the rest of the teams getting in the playoffs were having like losing records pretty much. And I think to me, it was almost like, okay, if we're going to like, who determines that this 38 and, 48 team or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is better than the 34. And so I think they just found it was like, we might as well just let them play off and see who we get in. Because it's just so hard to determine. But at the end of the day, like none of those play-in teams. I mean, has there really even been any of the play-in teams ever make really much of a deep run? I think
I
the
think the
Lakers
Lakers
made a decent run a
they
couple
made it
years
to the
ago
conference
when they
finals when they
when they
played
got
the
beat to the
Nuggets.
Nuggets. Yeah,
Yeah.
but other than that, for the most part, all these play-in teams essentially turn around and get beat. But I do think like the Western side is going to be an interesting one. Like I could see the Warriors getting to
Yeah.
play. If they make it out, I could see them getting to play a young, inexperienced Rockets team, right? And that's a matchup you don't want to see Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry and Draymond Green coming in to a bunch of guys that's never even played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I like it in the sense of it adds a little bit, but at the same time, like the thought of like the Warriors being the 7th seed, I would rather see them in a for sure 4-game series than possibly getting knocked out in this play-in game
Yeah.
and not even getting to witness like watch Steph Curry because the way that the viewership is for the NBA, they need Curry and LeBron and all of them in the playoffs, right? And so I have mixed feelings about it, but overall, I think it's all right.
Yeah. Mason, anything?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I think most of it's for, kind of viewership, get people interested. Like, oh, it's one game. Let's see who's actually going to make the playoffs. And I agree, Colton. I think it kind of sucks for some of these teams that probably should be, like the 7 and 8 seed that should be in the playoffs. Now it comes down to you actually winning that game, and you're given a chance to a, 9 or 10 seed possibly to make it in. I think it's interesting, and it does provide some viewership, but I think it also kind of just a little bit of a different take. I think it gives some teams some chances that may have had, injuries throughout the year, right? Had some extended injuries, and maybe they had a couple of key guys out for a few weeks, and that really hurt the record. Kind of giving them another chance here at the end of the season if they got healthy again to prove that they should be in and make a little run. So I think it's interesting, provides a little bit more excitement, to watch some of those games. This is really I mean, I keep up with the NBA, but I don't really like watch NBA, until the playoffs start. And I think that's probably a lot of people when it comes down to the NBA. So just getting more games and getting more people to tune in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you already touched a little bit. If there's a couple of key matchups I'm looking at, as you know, just starting on the West side, I think that the Warriors and the Grizzlies is a key matchup because, like you already touched on it, Colton. You talk about the Warriors. I mean, that's just a dynasty. I mean, even without KD and Thompson, it's still a dynasty. I mean, it's what all we've really known for the past couple of years in the NBA is them and LeBron, whatever team he's on. Um, so you talk about that being a tough possible second round matchup. I still think that even without the coaching firing of Mike Malone, I think Denver is still a dangerous team. I do. Just because you talk about them having the best player in the world. I mean, and just everything, the pieces that go around, and it's the playoffs. I mean, anything can happen. And you're not talking about one game, and that's what separates a lot of these younger teams. One game is not the series. You've got to win 4 games. As far as the Lakers go, my man LeBron, you just never know. I mean, the Minnesota, you talk about last year's Minnesota team made a deep run. Now, this is a Minnesota team without Karl-Anthony Towns, though. And it seems like they have missed him this year. They've missed that stretch 4, stretch 5 shooter that they no longer have. And it seems like There's just a lot of there's just so much more for what's his name, the point guard for
Anthony
Minnesota.
Edwards.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards. It just seems like there's a lot more load for him. And then going to the east side, there's really nothing that's really surprising here. I just want to see how Boston and Cleveland actually play. And you talk about Cleveland also being a younger team and not really maybe in age as much so as OKC, just younger as in not being here before. You talk about Donovan Mitchell, who'd been there before in the Utah Jazz whenever they were the 1 seed. I don't know if y'all remember that. They didn't make it out past the second round, I don't think, that year that they were like the number 1 seed and they were balling. So I could definitely see that happen again this year. Is there anything that y'all are looking at that kind of is eye opening or something you're looking forward to?
Go ahead, Mason.
Yeah, I mean, on the east side, I'll be interested to see if the Magic win them against the Celtics. I think the Magic have a bunch of young guys who are talented. So if they get hot, I don't think they'd beat the Celtics, but I think if they could win a game or two, get a little more, if they still won at Boston, watch out. I think that, Paulo Banchero, I think he's really, really good up and coming. I know he's been injured some this year. They got Wagner. He's really good as well. They got some young talent that I'll tune into that series. I think it'll be interesting to watch. I still think the Celtics win. They're just too good, but I'll be interested to see how the Magic do and, leading forward into the future with some of those young guys they have around them. And then on the West side, I mean, I'm probably a little bit biased here because of LeBron, but I think the Lakers have a good route to make the conference finals. Like Colton said, like you said, Dylan, that Rockets team, they're young, right? They haven't been here before. If they get matched up with the Warriors, in that first round, I could see the Warriors upsetting them. And then the Lakers moving on, beating the Timberwolves. Like you said, Dylan, they've struggled this year. I really don't see them beating the Lakers, but I'm interested to see what the Lakers do. And then I agree. I think the Nuggets kind of come out of the top there with OKC just being young, unless SGA just completely takes over here in the playoffs and carries them all the way.
Yeah, that's for me. I'm excited to see OKC, see if they can. Everyone was expecting them to be the build up, and they've lived up to it this year. After what they done last year and how young they are and how many picks they have. I mean, that's the thing. Like they have so many picks coming up. So and my guess is with as young as they have, as young as core as they have, they're going to use a lot of those picks to bring in some missing pieces, veteran guys when they need to, and just see how the playoffs go, and then see where you need to get better. I'm interested to see the Knicks. To me, like the Knicks for like the NBA is kind of like they're the next after like the Lakers and the Celtics as far as those big brands in the NBA that need to be good for like the viewership and stuff like that. I mean, the Knicks have a really good team, but they've just struggled to win and beat the Celtics, and that's who they're going to run into the second round. Is the Celtics if they get past, in the first round, right? I think the Knicks are the 3 seed, ain't they?
Yeah.
And the Celtics are a 2 seed, so
Yep.
that's who they would play. They didn't beat them a single time this year, but the Knicks are good. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, they've got key like good role players with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart. Like those are good. Those are key pieces on past teams, and they're all on there. So I like to see the Knicks at least. I don't think they'll get by the Celtics. I think the Celtics are going to come out of the East.
Yeah, I do too. I told Mason before we
I
got
just
on here.
do. I think they're going to come out of the East. The West to me is wide open. Really, anyone in the top four, I think, could come out of the West. But I think the Celtics are going to come out of the East. Now, ultimately, if I had to pick a winner, I would pick the Celtics of the repeat champs. But there's a few matchups I'd like to see. The Pistons made it back into the playoffs this time with Cade Cunningham. Watch that. Watch them kind of come. I mean, they've been down for so long. But I'm excited to see some of these teams that had been so bad for a while get some of these good young draft picks, and it's making better for the league to have some of these teams become more competitive with these young superstars.
Yeah. Well, I agree totally. If there was one pick, it would be the Celtics. I love OKC. I love SGA. I love how young, and I love the game that they bring. They can all spread the floor and shoot the ball very well. They play hard. But when you're talking about the NBA playoffs, They've not quite yet got to the mountain and met their match and kind of had that falling out. And then the next year they come out and they win because they've been there before and done that. You look at the Celtics, the year that they played the Warriors, which I guess 2 years ago maybe, that they made it to the finals. That was the year that they learned and they grew from that. And that's usually what you see. You see those teams, they make it maybe to the conference finals and they lose, or they make it to the NBA finals, they lose, and then they come back a year or two later and like, okay, now we've been here, we've done that, we know how to do it, we know how to win now. You don't. OKC got bounced in the second round last year. Cleveland, they've not made it that deep yet. So, and I could be totally wrong, but I kind of that's what I see as well. I see the Celtics. Mason, do you see anybody else coming out? If you had to pick somebody right now, who are you picking?
The Celtics. I could see. We talked about it a little bit earlier before Colton jumped on. I think I could see the Bucks upsetting the Cavs in that second round. Again, Cavs. I know they've been in the playoffs before, but they kind of got a little bit of pressure on them now. They took the 1 seed. Everybody's expecting them to make it. But yeah, if I had to pick one team, I mean the Celtics. They're so good.
Yeah. They have all the well. Speaking of, and we're just going to continue on the NBA. So what you see a lot of now in the NBA, whether you like it or not, this is just the NBA and what it is today. You see towards the end of the season, you see NBA players resting and no longer playing games because at a certain point, if your team has locked up the seeding, then they're not going to take a chance of getting hurt. Or it might just be that you're not going to make the playoffs, so you're not going to get out there and play, and you're not going to take a chance of getting hurt for that reason. It's two different dilemmas you have that you may be resting. Colton, let's start with you. What are your initial thoughts on the NBA and them resting? And you also could talk maybe if because some up do they have put something out there for during this season. Now you can't do it quite as much, but they still some do rest during the middle of the season. It used to be bad, a lot worse than it is now. But talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
So my biggest thing is, they are trying to crack down a little harder on the teams that rest their superstars during the season. And there's several teams that'll do it when they play back-to-back games. It don't happen, but a handful of times throughout the year that they actually have back-to-backs, and a lot of times they'll rest their superstars on that. But man, I have such problems with that, and I know that basketball is still hard on the body. I'm not saying it's not, and I know these guys are tiring, but to me, like what bothers me the most is you look at all the rest of these sports. Basketball literally starts like the NBA starts like the last week of October, and it goes all the way to mid June. And we're talking about an 82 game season. Like the playoffs are about to start with this week, and it's going to take 2 months just to play the playoffs. And basketball, we're talking about March Madness playing an entire thing in a whole month. Like I get it, that's one game compared to series, all that, but man, I mean, we're talking about teams having to play every other day. You're talking about coming off at the conference tournaments where the team could play 5 straight days. Right? I know some of these guys are getting older and all these, but a lot of the league is young. I mean, a lot of the league 24 less. It's old as some of these kids in college are. Right? And to me, I mean, what is the SGA now? 25, 26, something like that. I mean, right? I mean, the guy for Auburn, Baker Mazart, he was what, 26? I mean, so like to me, those guys can play 4 straight days in a conference tournament and then go play, your entire March Madness in 2 or 3 weeks. Like, why can't I struggle with that to me, and I think that's what's killing the viewership in the NBA is that these people are paying to come watch these superstars, and then they just might be out tonight, right? And you don't even know. There's no reason. They're just playing a back to back, and you happen to buy a ticket to the second game, and now they're not going to play. And like you're 25 years old, you're 26 years old, and you're not playing. I don't get that. I just don't believe in resting. If you're injured, I understand it, and I understand a little bit more towards like if you lock up, like the other night, the Lakers locked up, right? So they didn't play any of their guys the very final game of the season. There's nothing that could be done seeding wise. I am completely fine with that. That to me is completely fine. I don't blame them. Why play a meaningless game that does not affect your seeding? But during the year, man, I mean, if you don't actually have an injury, I mean, this is a job. It's not, you're getting paid to play. You're not getting paid to sit on the bench. And people are paying so I struggle with the resting. I think it's killed the NBA. I think to me they want to know why it's down, and I think they got to come up with more. They got to come up with heavier fines, and I don't know the problem. I don't know the solution because I think to me if you start coming up with more fines for people not playing, all they're going to do is say you're going to go behind the scenes to doctors, and they're going to say, "Oh, this guy has an ankle injury. This guy's got a sore knee. That's why he didn't play." But reality is he's resting. I'm not for it. I think it needs to be solved. I think that the NBA, I think it's killing the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mason, thoughts?
No, I agree, Colton. I mean, it drives me crazy. If let's say we all know I'm a huge LeBron fan. Let's say I'm gonna go watch them. The Lakers come to Indy one night and they're gonna play in Indy, and I spend my hard-earned money. I spend $600 to have good seats. Go watch LeBron. Comes out, day before the game, he's not gonna play now because he's rested. I mean, one, like you said, that kind of deters fans away, right? Kind of makes them mad, makes them not even want to watch. Like you said, if it's the end of the season, you got things locked up, you're trying to rest and get healthy for the playoffs, that's another story. But I think, and here's maybe a hot take, I wish the NBA would shorten their season, not play as many games. I think it would solve a lot of things. One, I think you see in the NBA so many games where they just don't care, right? I mean, how many games do you see 140 to 130 or 130 to 120? And I get it's a different game now. They're so gifted offensively, but I feel like a lot of that is they don't try as hard during the season. That's really why I don't tune in throughout the NBA season, because you're just watching guys come down and jack up threes. And playoffs, it's a different story, right? You see people playing hard, playing defense, and I think if they shorten that, make them play instead of every other night, it's every 2 or 3 nights, and you can stagger that schedule to where you have games almost every night. But I think that would fix some of these issues with guys resting and viewership and not caring as much. If they only had, let's just say, 60 games or whatever it is, cut it down by 15, 20 games, and I think you would see a lot of this kind of disappear, with them trying to take breaks because they're not playing as much. It is demanding to play 82 games in a season. I mean, I get that, and it probably does. After 3 or 4 weeks when you've played back, night break, 2 nights break, play again. I'm sure it does get a little bit old, but I think that would fix a lot of things if they would just cut some of those games down and not have them play that long. Like you said, it's almost a year-round thing with the NBA.
Yeah, so I agree with everything that you all said as well. But here's where I'm going to come at it too. My biggest issue with today's, and I mean just people who don't so much love the NBA, is the heat that the players get. And here's what I would say: if you were in their shoes, you would be doing the same thing. This is not so much a player's at fault, more so than it is the league. And the reason I say that is because as far as resting goes during the season, if you're playing that much and your body needs rest, and I get it, I get that people are wanting to pay their hard on, like you're wanting to sit, but if your body needs rest and you can get that rest, like that's okay. And the difference is also that, you talk, well, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, we didn't rest. We played hard. We played. Yes, you did. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying that the players shouldn't play, but at the same time, I'm also going to say that these guys are making so much more money that there's really not an incentive for them to want out and go play, other than the pride. And yeah, you may want to say, well, these guys are weak or the pride is different. It may be true. That may be true. Yes. But as far as things like of that nature, you can't really say that like it's the players' fault. It's just it's the game itself now. I mean, and then you talk about what was the other one you was bringing up, Mason? You was talking about the some about taking off more games
Shorten
because
that
they're
season.
shortening the season. I agree with that totally. And you talk about, well, the players are not playing as hard. Well, I'm not going to sit here and say anything negative about these players because 82 games is a lot of games. Some nights you just ain't feeling it. And you know what? You're still going to be making all that money. And if the people around you are doing it, then you're probably going to fall into that system as well. Like you see some great college basketball players. Like I can't, if you were to like whatever team it is that you support, and you're like, man, that guy plays so hard. He gives it his all in college. And then he goes to the NBA. He may do that his first rookie year and the next 2 or 3 seasons, but then there's going to become a time whenever he's starting to see the people around him and how this system works in the NBA, and he's going to fall into that as well, and he's going to start not playing as hard. So, as much as I want to say, yeah, the players that are at fault on a lot of this stuff, it's just the system. It's what the NBA is, and yes, I agree with everything that y'all are saying, but at the end of the day, the players make so much money now that nothing is going to stop them right now. They're not. And you talk about, and this is off topic, but we can dive into it a little bit. The firing of Mike Malone, the firing of Taylor Jenkins, right? That's his last name, Jenkins.
Yeah.
Like those are so unnecessary firings. Like those are two great coaches. There was no reason. I mean, you look at their teams. One team is in the West at a 4 seed, and the other team is in a plan who had half his team hurt all year long or in trouble one. It's a players run league now. And again, I don't blame the players for that. It's the system that they have been brought into and everything they have allowed. If the players didn't want to make money, guess who's giving them the money? We are, the fans. It don't matter how bad the viewership is. People are still pouring in billions of dollars into the NBA. And that's why these players are making, you're talking about the 13th man on the roster making more than McCaffrey or I don't know who's the next highest paid running back probably.
All right. Henry, maybe.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. Like that's not. It's the system that they're in.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what you do at this point.
No. No, I agree. I mean, I agree. I mean, yeah, it's a system, but like, and that's what, that's the point is like, at what point is the system going to say, like, we're paying you, your job, right? Like, this is a job. You work a job. And it's like one of those that, like, you should be required, unless, like, for sure medically unable, you should be required to play at least 70 games. Like, that should be, if you're going to play 82 games, you should be required to play 70. Simple as that. Unless you can, like, you are medically unable. Like, the doctor has, like, for
X-ray,
sure medically,
surgery.
X-ray, you have all that has to be shown and proven that this is what this guy has. Otherwise, you should be shot. It's the same way. It's like, I mean, if we all have jobs. If I decided that I'm tired, right, am I just supposed to get the day off and still get paid tomorrow? Like, like that. I mean, that's kind of what it is. But these guys get to play basketball for a living, and the thing, my biggest problem is that their regular season is like 5.5 months. Like they essentially is like 160, 170 days. They play 82 games. They literally are only playing half the days of the 6 months. Like that's crazy, right? I know baseball is a totally different game on the body, so I'm not comparing those two games. But baseball plays a 162 game season starting in April and finishes in October. Like 162 games, the same amount of months, right? And I think the same amount of April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, essentially the same months that the NBA season is. And that's not even counting the NBA playoffs. You have 2 more months. The NBA season is essentially 7, almost 8 months of the entire year for 82 games plus the playoffs. And you have the MLB plays 162 games plus the playoffs in a 2 month shorter span. I mean, you add traveling to that. So to me, I don't like. There needs to be something that's fine if you want to blame the league. I'm in an agreement with that, but something has to be done, or else the viewership is going to continue to go down.
Yep.
Well,
let's shorten the season. That's it.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, let's get into our last segment for the night because I know we've been waiting to talk about it. Over the weekend, we had the Masters tournament played in Augusta, and there's no probably to it. The best tournament that I have ever watched, hands down. Do you all agree or disagree before I go on?
Now, I'm still going to call a Tiger one. The way that fell apart the back nine of the Tiger
Yeah.
win in 2019 with Koepka, Molinari, Finau, they're all going in water on 12. Like the ups and downs
Yeah.
of that one.
I mean, I respect that. Yeah. I mean, like, I
That's
can't
probably
disagree with
I'm
that.
still going to keep that one at 2, but I do believe this one falls right there at it.
I'm gonna put this one at 1 just because we weren't as big golf fans then, Dylan. Like we've gotten into golf a lot more now, so I remember this one. I mean, it's more recent, obviously, but like I was a lot more locked into this one than I was back when Tiger won it.
Well, you talk about Rory McIlroy, who day one didn't come out on all cylinders. Then comes around and shoots, was it
600.
66? Yes,
Yeah.
66. Then follows that up with a Saturday round shooting. Was it
It was
3?
600 again, I think.
Was it
He was
600
he was
again?
12 under starting the last
Okay,
day.
600 again.
Yeah.
And then Saturday or Sunday was just everywhere. But he ended up winning the green jacket, completes the grand slam finally. Let's kind of just unpack all this. I almost want to go through every single hole, but we don't have time to do that. So let's just knock it down the front 9, and then we'll do no, can't say front 9. That's not how we say it. Or actually, yes, the front 9 and then the next 9, or the first 9, next 9. So comes out double bogey right off the bat. That was the only hole I did not get to watch because I was walking in as we had been coming back. But guys, what in the world? I mean, comes out and I immediately thought, uh-oh, here it comes, Rory again, the choke. And before we move on, though, I do want to say this. I did say Rory would not win. I was wrong, but I'm happy I was wrong because, again, I do not dislike Rory. I like Rory, and I really am happy for him. I was very, very happy to watch him win the Masters and complete the Grand Slam. You could see all the emotions come out on the 18th green. But go ahead. All right, so club that double bogey. Colton, what was your immediate thoughts? I know you're a Rory guy.
Yeah. No, I immediately was like, this is it. It's over. Like I thought that because I thought if Bryson bogeys also, because he had to up and down, he had to get up and down also, for par. And I thought, okay, Rory bogeys. And the reason I thought it wasn't even that he double bogeyed, it was the way that he double bogeyed. Right? He got into the bunker. That drive was really almost perfect, but he had no choice but to kind of lay up. And he actually hit a decent wedge shot, just a little over much. It was the putt that he blasted by 10 foot. And I was like, oh no, like this guy's not making a putt all day long. And it immediately went back to being tied. I mean, the lead was wiped out. And I thought, nope, that's it. And then, Bryson comes out, next hole and birdies it. And I thought, all of a sudden you went from up 3 to down 1 in a matter of 2 holes. And I thought, truthfully, at that point, I thought Rory was liable to finish like 5th or 6th or 7th.
Well, he
Like
actually hits the bunker, didn't he, on 2? His tee shot, he was in the bunker.
Yeah, he goes into the bunker on tee shot on 2. So he has a layup. He don't even get a chance to go to the green.
Doesn't even have a
Bryson puts it
chance.
on the green. So you've already hit 2 bunkers on your tee shots. You've already had a 3 putt. I mean, all of the things that you talked about Rory in the past has already happened in the first 2 holes.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was downhill from there.
I think the biggest thing, the biggest shift, because Bryson did had a good start. I think the biggest shift, and I sent it to y'all in the message, was when Bryson decided on the 3rd hole to go with a layup. I did not like that play. With all the momentum, I know you want to play it safe, but you talk about Rory being able to get back his momentum. He was like 70 or 80 yards in front of him, maybe further than that. I mean, he was right next to the green. It was very similar to the placement of where Scotty was at whenever he chipped in 2 years or 3 years ago. But then you talk about Bryson coming in, and you had another 2-hole or 2-stroke switch. I mean, Bryson went bogey there, and Rory went birdie. So you had, I mean, it was immediately back. Rory took the lead back again. I mean, it was a chaotic first round, or front 9. So, Mason, I want to hear your thoughts on the 7th hole. Whenever Rory pulls his drive left and has to go over those trees.
Yeah.
152 yards and throws it to 8 feet.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the video. I mean, it was all over, X and everything else. I mean, just after kind of how he started, and then he bounced back a little bit. I think he birdied what 3 and 4, right? Kind of got back to even on the round. I'm sure after he did that, he and down the stretch too, nerves and everything. But I mean, what an incredible shot that he kind of made there to kind of recover and keep the momentum rolling. I think that was probably one of the most important kind of points in his round. Right, he'd already made a mistake early, comes back, he birdies both of them, and then he kind of makes a good save there.
Well, him
The
And
and
birdie
Harry
putt
was
is short.
laughing. Yeah, he left
yeah,
it short. He missed it too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if he'd have made that, I would have said it had been over there. I mean, I think we all kind of did after what was it, 10 he birdied. What
Yeah.
else? But
Birdie
I
Well,
9
think
and
that was
10.
10.
Yeah.
Birdie
yeah,
9
9
and
and 10.
10.
Yeah. But I
After
think that
the
was big for him mentally to just get out of
yeah.
that kind of little mess he put himself in.
Yeah. After the one hand finish on 10 and proceeds to throw it to 12, probably 12 to 10 feet and birdies it. I truly thought, I was like, okay, it's over now. Because he was finally starting to make putts. Other than the one on 7, he made a couple of not bombs, but just like the ones that are like kind of testers. But if you make them, like you get that momentum, those are the outside the range where you can be aggressive. If you miss them, it's okay. He made a couple of those. And after that on 10, I was like, oh man, this is for sure over. But then we go to 13, where the whole tournament changes. Colton, talk to us. Did you like the play?
Man,
Kind of talk about
yeah.
what he does.
So he hits a drive perfect. He's got 239 yards in. And for Rory, that's 4 iron maybe. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
at must have sawed off like 5 wood or something if he wants to control it. But he decides to lay up. And I was watching, I had I was listening to a golf podcast this morning, and they had Jack Nicklaus on the phone, and Nicklaus was saying how he thought it was actually the right play for him to lay up. I would disagree just because, in my mind, he's going into that hole with a 3-shot lead on Justin Rose. Like, DeChambeau went into the water on
Mm-hmm.
11, like, kind of threw him, and then bogeyed 12. Like, he threw himself all the way out of the tournament. And so, really, Rose was the only one. He was 3-shot lead, and Rose only had 2 holes left, like 3 holes left. So, like, Rory still had these birdie opportunities in my mind, and I know what he was thinking. Like, I've got a 3-shot lead. The only way you could give it away is if you go into the water. He hits a perfect layup. It wasn't that, but man, I mean, he pretty much
86 yards.
he
86 yards wedge.
essentially. I mean, whether we want to say it or not, he essentially shanked a wedge. Like, I know it was more of a flare, but in their terms, like in their mind, that's what he done. He shanked that wedge into the creek. I mean, the thing is, everything left of that hole filters to the hole.
You had
So
a
like,
world left.
yeah, and so that he pretty much had to shank it. So like, looking back hindsight, yeah, you're like, why didn't he go for it? Because you see so many people, like Scotty went into the water the day before, or maybe that day, I can't remember, but they get up and down because it's a pretty decent
He
chip,
did the
like to
day
get up and
before.
down. Yeah, he went into the water. So like, a lot of people go for it because they're like, they still walk out of there with par. And I know what Rory was thinking, and not in a million years would he have thought, I'm going into the creek at 86 yards from that angle. But he
Especially
did,
where the pin was
and
at. And like you said, it
right,
filtering down. Like, why in the world would
right,
you even? And if you heard him talk, he said he was going to try. He said he knew he had it left, but he wanted to. There was a little hump that he was talking about that he wanted to be right
right,
of. So if he was even a little right of that, he did shank it. Had to
right.
have. Like,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if he'd have been like going straight at it, I could have lived with him coming up short, right? If you're coming straight at it and you're coming up short, that's one thing. But he was literally over here on the side, so like, he just, I mean, he had all this room over
yeah.
here. So I mean, but I mean, immediately right there, the lead was, I mean, gone. He
Oh,
was at a,
that's where the 3-shot lead, because
yeah,
what he didn't know is Justin Rose is on 16 through it to like 5 feet. Birdie, 3-shot turnaround, loses the lead. Or no, he
Rose,
right,
ties the lead. Ties the lead.
Rose got hot.
right,
Oh yeah.
and yeah. So I mean, and then I mean, obviously he bogeys 14.
Yep.
He dropped
And
four shots
that's
in
where the
4
lead.
holes,
Yeah,
That's where
right?
he
bogeys
he
14.
lost the
11.
lead.
He bogeyed 11,
Bogey's
double
14. Got
13,
lucky
bogey
that
14. Yep.
Rose bogeyed 17.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they were still tied at 10 under as he head into 15.
Mason, you want to break down 15?
Y'all go ahead. I'll break down 17.
Okay, so coming into 15, as much as a great, I'm gonna make this dramatic, but I mean it is. I mean you talk about the nerves. Having a 3-shot lead going into a par 5 that is the easiest hole on the course, if not the second easiest hole, like to birdie. Like I mean, it's just you have a lot of water that balls that go in the water, but it's a gettable hole. Like that's where you want to be at with the lead. You lose the lead in 2 holes because you go double bogey and then followed up with another bogey. All right. He gets up on 15, hits a pretty good drive, pulled it just a little enough to where trees come into factor, and he's at 209 yards. Has a very, very similar shot as he did on Friday, I believe. But anyways, has 209 yards out, grabs 7-iron, and just ropes it. Tight draw on a line. I mean, golf shot, throws it to 9 feet for eagle, proceeds to miss the eagle putt.
Low.
But regardless,
low.
yeah, misses it low, doesn't miss on the pro side. But regardless of him missing the putt, the relief of that shot had to be weight. I mean, he had to, and the thing about it is, as soon as he hit it, he knew it was good, and that's what he takes that walk. He knows it. He's strutting his stuff, and he's like, "I'm back. I needed that. I got it." Then proceeds to go to 16, throws it a pretty good shot in there. I would say to about 9 or 10 feet is what I read. I think misses it. It was a difficult putt coming down the hill, but he gave himself an opportunity. So going into 17, he was tied with Justin Rose. And at that moment, what he didn't know is Justin Rose was about to make a big time birdie putt on 18 to tie him, but Rory didn't know that going into it probably. And if he did, he's got even. That's even better.
Right.
I mean, like that's crazy. I mean, so then he steps up on 17. Mason, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was reading 17. I think it was the fourth hardest hole on the week, and it's kind of from what I was reading, a little bit of an overlooked hole, but I think it was playing as like the fourth hardest hole on the week. And he steps up to the tee box, and I see he's hitting 3-wood. And I'm like, what is this man doing? Does he know Justin Rose just birdied? Anyways, I mean, he hits his 3-wood, in the fairway. I think he had, 197 in?
Yeah, 196.
197. And I'm like, my goodness, like this man just hit a 3-wood. He's gonna have to, birdie if he wants a chance to win this thing. And I mean, he hits a beautiful. And as soon as he hit it, he's like, go, go. And I was like, oh no, he left it short. Oh no. And then I mean,
There's
it
a
was
bunker.
beautiful.
There's a bunker in front of that hole.
Yeah, and I think you left it for like 3 foot or something.
2 or 3 feet.
Tap in birdie. So I mean, that was. I think Dylan, you texted us in the group and was like, why did he hit 3-wood? And then after he hit that second shot, you're like, oh, that's why he hit 3-wood.
Yeah, I was like, what is he doing? And just to add a little bit more to what Mason just said, on the 17th hole, the average proximity on that hole for that day was 43 feet. He threw it to 2 feet. He also did it with the longest approach of anyone in the field for the entire day. In fact, get this. More than 80% of the entire field only had 165 yards or less into 17, and Rory had 196 and threw it to 2 feet.
Hit an 8-iron.
I seen this.
That's insane. That's 3 iron shots that maybe 1 or 2 people ever could do. Talk about on 7, 15, and 17.
Yeah, I seen a stat that said the probability of a PGA Tour player hitting a shot from 200 yards to 2 feet is 0.37%. 1 in every 270 attempts. And
okay, Colton. So at that moment, what are you thinking now? Because now he has took the 1-shot lead, and then go to 18 and talk to us.
So I felt relieved because what I sent y'all immediately after it happened, I said there's bogey incoming. And truthfully, I thought he was going to miss a drive.
I did too. I thought he was going to pull it.
But when he hit the drive to 125 out, I thought, okay, he's going to, this is it. Because I was like, surely goodness he puts it on the center of the green. I thought what's going to happen, he's going to put it on the center of the green, and he's going to kind of have somewhat of a downhill fast putt. And he was going to put it by 3 or 4 feet. And that was going to be whether or not he made it after he hit that drive. But man, then once again, his two worst wedge shots of all time happened to come on 13 and 18. I mean, he just 125-yard shot. You just hit an 8-iron from 197 to 3 foot up a hill, and you just hit 125-yard wedge into the bunker on a left pin location. You hit into the right bunker.
With a
So,
hill feeding down, like you
right.
could go long and let
So
it
I
come
mean,
back.
he missed it, but he got lucky with the bunker break. I mean, he left it on the uphill slope, like the easiest type of bunker shot he could have had from that lie, and he hits a good bunker shot out of it.
Yeah, not bad at all.
But immediately,
5 feet, 5, 6 feet.
he hits it to 5-6 feet. Immediately, the whole world immediately flashes back to last year's U.S. Open.
Yep.
The putt to tie Bryson or beat Bryson, whatever it was. I mean, that's immediately what people flash back. That was all they were thinking, and he was thinking it too. You can sit there and say what he was thinking it too, and he left it low.
Yep.
He did. He putted it. The air went out of the room. I mean, I was almost in tears for him because I thought there's no way going into this playoff he's going to win now. Like that was it. That was his one chance. If he doesn't win this, it's over. He'll never win it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and I told you, I was like, there's no way he makes this putt, and he didn't.
Yeah. It was a low side again. He didn't even, like, it was one of those just try to get it into the hole instead of a confident putt. I mean, I was almost tearing up for him.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't just imagine what he was going through mentally at that point.
And, you talk about it. So you have also at the moment Justin Rose in this playoff, which Justin Rose is a good guy. I don't know many people who don't like Justin Rose. And Justin Rose is a guy also who's been here before. He went to a playoff against Sergio. He's come up second in the Masters twice, going into a playoff to possibly be tied or go into the Masters to come up tied for second again, which would be 3 times. So you also have 2 guys who are on the same European Ryder Cup team. So it's not like we have everybody in the world obviously wanted Rory, but Rory also was probably like Justin Rose is a great guy. Like it wasn't like, but at the same time, it was almost like, okay, golf gods, what do you have in store for Rory? So they go to the playoff hole, and you see, honestly, I didn't know what to expect after Rose got up there and hit a good tee shot. I really didn't know. I was like, I could see Rory popping it, but I also could see Rory, the nerves just becoming too much for him and it just being too much and he just can't do it. Well, he did. He hits in a very identical shot. I mean, maybe it was, what do you think? Maybe 5 yards in front. It was on a flatter lie that helped him out. But then you say, after Justin Rose throws it, and I think he caught a bad break. Justin Rose caught a bad break on the ball. I thought it was going to come down the hill or at least stop after he hit it a little bit more, but goes past it 15 feet. And then Rory gets up there and sticks another great golf shot. Pin high, sinks it back down to 2 feet. And then everybody knows Justin Rose proceeds to miss the putt. Rory finally captures everything that he's been dreaming of for 11 years in the making. And one of my favorite parts was just the pure emotion. I enjoyed seeing the human aspect of Rory. It's like that's what has been on his shoulders the entire time, and it's all gone. Like it was just really and the Masters does a great job of that. You talk about them just not saying anything.
They didn't say a word after he made the putt. Awesome. He made the putt, and Jim Nantz made the talking about Rory McIlroy's your new Master champion, and after he fell to the ground, Rory did. There wasn't a word said till he got back into the clubhouse to sign his scorecard. I mean, just everything just sat there and watched, and it was. I mean, it's an unreal moment. I mean, the man has nothing. I mean, golf immortality, right? I mean, there's nothing left to prove.
I mean, 6 guys that's ever done what he's done.
Right. I mean, you've won all majors.
Or 5 guys, including him.
Right. You've won every major. You've won the FedEx Cup. You're a Ryder Cup, stud like that. I mean, there's nothing left for him. I mean, he's won the Players multiple times. He's got all these wins across his career. I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing left. I mean, he's not going to chase down Tiger's win record. He's not going to So other than that, I mean, there's nothing you can sit here and think, what else does he have to prove to the world? And so now that makes for a very dangerous man in some ways. It can, right? Like, I mean, there's nothing that should be like on his shoulders of what can I not do, right?
Well, I mean, that's what I said. I said, fellas, I said, does anybody else feel like this is a bear coming out of hibernation that's about to tear the PGA up? Mason, I see you're shaking your head. Talk about it. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, we're all so happy for him, but I think this was kind of the defining moment for the rest of his career, right? You know, if he lost it, it was a slippery slope for him and he may have never recovered. But I think now that he has got this off his chest, I mean, the first thing he said, you know, after he won an interview was, "Hey, I got a question. What are we going to talk about next year?" You know, and it's all off his shoulders. He has nothing else to worry about now. He's just going out there and playing golf, and right now he's playing better than anybody in the world.
Yeah.
And that's why I texted you and I was like, "What's the most anybody's won in a single year? What's the most majors anybody's won in a single year?" Because I mean, right now, I mean, where's Quail Hollow? He's already won there once, right?
The Open is literally an hour from his house where he was born
Yeah, the
this year.
Open,
It's in
Northern Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him just going on
I mean,
a
already runner
ridiculous.
up last year at the U.S. Open, right? So you
Yep.
know that the guys who bomb it, like Bryson, him, those are the type of guys that play the U.S. Open well because there's usually not low scores and they're down there having closer shots than a lot of people. I'm I'm with you. I mean, I just right. I mean, he's had some good look at. Or I guess he's in the. I would assume he's in this upcoming week, the RBC Heritage Signature event.
Signature
Right?
event.
I mean, how did not? You know, this may be the first time in a long time that Rory may be the favorite, going like a betting favorite over Scotty going into a round. I mean, I could
Mhm.
see that. I mean, Scotty might still be, but it would not surprise me if Rory is now the betting favorite
Yeah,
going
the
into it.
storylines aren't Scotty no more right now. It is
No,
heavily Rory, and he deserves it. I mean, he
right.
is clearly right now playing the best golf in the world. He may
And
not
I mean,
be by rankings
right.
number one. He definitely could get there very soon.
Yeah.
But you also though you can't take out Scotty because I mean he comes up fifth. I mean
Once again,
once
he got
again, yeah,
fourth, top five. I
or
Yeah.
mean,
fourth. Was it
and
fourth
Is
or
Rory
fifth?
he finished fourth.
Fourth.
is
Okay,
Rory playing this week? They
I
don't
don't
have him
know.
on here on the
Maybe
betting
he's
odds.
not. Maybe he's not.
he's
I
going
don't know.
back to
I don't know.
Ireland to
He's
Yeah,
probably
enjoy this
celebrating.
win.
yeah. I don't
Enjoy
blame him.
it.
I don't blame him for.
Before we get off too much, though, to conclude, let's give about 5 more minutes, then we'll get off here. I do want to hear. So now that Rory has finally completed the Grand Slam, he has won the Master, he's won the Open, the U.S. Open, he has won
PGA,
PGA. You know, he's won the FedEx, like you
the
said. He's been a
players
Ryder
multiple
Cup, the
times.
Players. Yes, he's done everything, like you said. Where does Rory rank now in all time? Like, give us a little. I
I
know his career's not done, so like it's going to be kind of difficult. But as of
it
right now, if Rory were to hang it up right now,
yeah. He's top 15 at least, if not pushing top 10. He's won. He's done one that's only one of six players have ever done. Right. The fact that he's won. He's got five majors. I mean, you've got two. The players is considered a another major, and he's got what two of those at least I know of.
Mhm.
I mean, Ryder Cup wins, great Ryder Cup moments, multiple FedEx Cups. I don't know if he's got two. I know he's got two, and he might have three. I can't remember if he's got three or not. But no one's ever won three. Like Tiger, I think has two. Since of course, they didn't do that early on.
Yeah.
But Tiger's only, and so like he's going to probably end up with the most FedEx Cups ever. I mean, that's to me. I mean, that's top 10 resume. I mean, there's he. I think he declared himself as the greatest European player ever after this
Yeah,
win. I mean, think
yeah,
about that. The Sevies, some of those guys, the Colin Montgomerys, the Ernie, like the different the international players that have come over. I mean, he's the greatest to
mhm,
ever do it. I'm throwing him in the top 10. I
yeah.
mean, and he don't have to do another thing from here on out to do that.
Mason, do you have him or around the range?
So I'd say top 10 right now. You know, we talked about it. We gave our Masters pick. I liked Rory. I thought he was going to get over that hump. You know, we talked about what we kind of expect the rest of this season. If he goes on to win another major this year, you know, a couple more tournaments, I mean, he's close to top five for me. Just kind of he was so dominant early on. You know, he had a big gap there where he was struggling to kind of break through and finish at some of these bigger events, right? And I think he's found it again. I'm excited to see what he does the rest of this year. But I mean, if he kind of keeps
Yeah,
this up, he's top five for me for sure at the end of this year.
yeah. For me, I think he's right at that 10, 11. Like he's right there at the top 10. I can't quite put him below 10 just yet. After doing my research and looking at these guys on how many wins they have, how many majors, he's there. I'm not taking anything away from him. But I mean, if I were to, you all like, I mean, your Sam Sneads, Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan,
Palmer,
Arnold Palmer, Byron Nelson, Phil
even
Mickelson. I mean,
Phil
Tom Watson.
Mickelson.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like he's there's still a little gap. It's not a lot, but there's still that little gap. But I mean, top 10 to ever play the game right at 10. I mean, that's amazing. Like that, and like I said, he's only 35 years old. He still has time,
Right.
and he's playing his best golf that he says that he has ever played mentally, physically, and just his swing in general. And like I said, I've not been watching golf near as long as you have, Colton, but I would say you probably agree. If the man himself is saying that, I would say you probably agree to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, thing is he was like the LeBrons, the Tigers. They were young prodigies. Like all eyes were on them before they even made it pro. Like they were on these television shows as young kids. Like I think they were showing like the replays of Rory hitting into his washing machine, right? Like chipping into his washing machine. He was on a television show over in Ireland for being like this young golf prodigy. So all eyes have been on him. And those are the guys, like same thing for Tiger. He was on the shows growing up as just a young kid. And they lived up to it, right? They took those moments knowing that they were expected to be great. And they went and became great. And to me, that says a lot for Rory. I know people want to tag on some things. He didn't finish. He didn't, some of these different times that he could have finished and he didn't. Man has been doing it for a long time now.
Yep.
I mean, and he's just continuing to get even better. And so hats off to him, really.
Yep. Well, anything else that you all want to? I mean, just good for Rory.
Yep.
Happy for him.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that is another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. As always, go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.